Okay, this video is going to show you how to use some pretty common tools that most people have around the house or shop to install the Not Row Supply heavy-duty modern wall brackets. First thing we're going to do is show you how not to install these, and while it might be tempting to use the included screws and screw them directly into drywall, we're going to show you that this really isn't the way to do it. In fact, it's a terrible way to do it. Since these brackets are quite heavy, you can see what happens if you attach them to the wall and don't have any significant anchors behind it. They'll pull right out and it's going to fail almost immediately. What you want to do is take the base plate to the bracket, put it on the wall where you want the bracket to be, and simply mark a hole where you're going to do your pilot drill. Now, because these brackets, or at least the base brackets, can be oriented in a horizontal or vertical fashion, you can move it wherever you want to. In this case, I'm going to mount them vertically where the holes are stacked on top of each other. In this case, I'm using a 1/2-inch drill bit. Never mind the fact that it's a metal bit. It really doesn't matter because we're going right through drywall. But we'll use the supplied anchors to attach these securely to the drywall without any problems. They're pretty neat. And all you do is drill through the drywall and cinch this little collar up to the drywall where it's going to fit in that hole and snug up real nice. In a minute, you're going to see what's behind the drywall and how this whole thing works. But once you cinch it in there, you wiggle it back and forth a little bit and simply break off those tabs and you're good to go. Here at the bottom, you'll see where the fastener or that anchor comes through on the back side of the wall, and you can see it expand. That little wing sets nicely against the back of the drywall. And now we can put our base plate up against the wall. You'll see here how these recessed parts fit perfectly with the anchor base itself, and that's going to allow this bracket to sit flush on the wall and really look great. There's going to be some supplied machine screws, and all you need to do is crank those things in there. I'm using a little powered screwdriver, makes things easier, but if you want to use a regular screwdriver, you certainly can. It'll just give you a little bit more of a workout tightening those things in there. But what I found is to put both in a little bit loose and then come back later and tighten them up. Works great. And then you can see that base plate is flush to the wall. It's very secure. And then you just take the top of the bracket, set it on there, use the included hex key to tighten up that set screw. And once you do that, it's on there nice and snug, solid on the wall. It's not going anywhere, nice and solid, perfect. That's what we want. Next option, the one that's really going to give you the most secure attachment method, is to put this into a wooden stud on the wall. Now, we're using a stud finder. We found the center point of that stud, and we're going to come back and pre-drill that. You don't need to be super specific on the drill bit. I'm just using a drill bit that's about half the diameter of the actual screw. We want to drill a pilot hole in there. Now, in this case, I'm lining up those holes again in a vertical fashion, and I'm going to come back and pre-drill that hole. You want to do a little pilot hole in there. It's going to make it easier for those wood screws to bite into the wood. Now, because we're going into wood, it's a little bit more solid. I'm going to start those wood screws, again, putting one in the top, one in the bottom, just to get everything lined up. But then we're going to come back with something with a little more muscle and get a power drill on here to really crank those things in there. Now we've got a little bit more muscle on here, and we're going to tighten that thing down. And like I said, this is the best way to do it. So if you've got wood substrate and studs in your wall, this is really going to give you the strongest way to do it. Again, you grab that hex key, tighten up that bracket on the wall. It's nice and flush, looks great. And once that's on there, you can really see how solid that is.